They had to buy every single vote to beat you. You showed old people how the new world works. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy that, well, for one, they had to outspend me 10-1 to beat a YouTuber against an incumbent, who incumbents have like a 97% re-election?
In Texas. Not just anywhere, an incumbent in Texas.
97% re-election rate on incumbents. So to lose in a primary is crazy already. To lose to a guy who's never run before, insane. To a guy who is a YouTuber who says on the internet.
Yeah.
Is absurd. There is no precedent for that.
This episode is sponsored by Remedical. Hey, veterans. Ever feel like navigating the VA disability claims process is like trying to march in quicksand? I don't know how much you know about quicksand. It's not great to march through. Well, here's some good news. Remedical, that's Romeo Echo Echo Medical, is here to support you as you march right out of that mess. And you can keep moving forward. Whether it's a first-time claim or an increase in your existing status, Remedical connects you with independent providers who can document your symptoms with the precision of a sniper. Only Carlos Hathcock is a better sniper than them. They provide the accurate and thorough medical evidence you need to support your VA claim. With a network of experienced physicians, Remedical has helped over 75,000 veterans. Can you believe that, Blas? 75,000 veterans.
That's a big number.
That's a big number, but we're going to blow right past it. They'll explain all your options before you even think about paying anything. No more mystery, just clarity and competence. At the After Action podcast, we're not just fans of Remedical, we're customers too. Blas, what's it like working with Remedical?
Listen, Zach, I'm not going to lie. When you presented the option of going to Remedical, I was super skeptical, man. I was already done with the VA process. They threw me through the ringer, had me waiting for who knows how long. Anywhere from 6 to 12 months is what I experienced. I know there are veterans out there who have probably experienced a lot longer. When you had mentioned Remedical, like I said, I was skeptical. I gave them a call, though. Like you said, free consultation. I had nothing left to lose. I picked up the phone, gave them a call, told them exactly what I was going through and the troubles that I was experiencing. They said, no problem. Just send us over your medical records. We'll take a look at them. And if we can help you, we'll reach back out. Not even 24 hours later, I got a phone call telling me that my ratings were not sufficient to what the standard actually was, and that if I wanted to move forward, they'd be glad to help me. Almost 12 months later, I finally got my rating back from the VA, where I couldn't be more happy with the results. If you're out there and you're struggling and you're sick of running through the VA process and you're tired of getting to run around, go to Remedical. I promise you they'll help you and they'll guide you through the process with no pressure and get you the rating you deserve.
I couldn't think of a better personal endorsement than that right there. I got to watch him go through the process myself, and it has been a life-changing outcome for him and his family. Don't settle for frustration or unfavorable decisions. Check out the link in the description for a free consultation and $200 off Remedical services. It's time to get what you deserve. Hey guys, Veteran with a Sign here, and I've got something game-changing to share with you. If you're a protector, a parent, or just someone who wants to be ready for whatever life throws at you, this is for you. The USCCA just dropped an unbelievable deal on self-defense training that you can't afford to miss. Here's the scoop. They've launched a new site where you can go sign up for over 1,600 in-person self-defense courses nationwide. And the kicker? They're 100% free through the end of the year. That's right, no strings attached. This is your chance to learn real-world self-defense skills from experienced instructors in your own community. Whether it's building a home protection plan, mastering situational awareness, or diving deep into the laws of self-defense, these expert-led classes are designed to give you the confidence and tools to protect yourself and your loved ones. Don't wait. Go to uscca.com/veteranwithasign right now. Find a course near you and sign up today. Opportunities like this don't come around often, and spots will fill up fast. Take action now, invest in your safety, and level up your skills. That's uscca.com/veteranwithasign to get started today.
That's all right. But speaking of real jobs, this is something I'm excited about.
Oh, dear.
The AK guy. The rise of the influencer.
Ugh, I hate that word.
Yeah.
So gross.
And it is gross, but it is what you do. But you were on a path. Your dad said, hey, can't be a Green Beret. This will give you a better life path, being a lawyer. And you said, cool, I'm off to law school.
Yeah, went to, I applied to one college. It was Campbell University.
Nice.
Got in. So at that point, I was like, I was a bag student too. I was a bad student. In high school, I was a bad student. But luckily, I smoked the SAT. So
Really?
like that allowed me, that was the only thing I cared about. Like as long as I do good on the SAT, which ended, kids, bad advice. Don't do that. But it worked out for me. So, yeah.
Sounds like good advice.
Life is figuring out how to be a weapons grade bag, but also still competent. You're laughing because you know it's true.
I can't argue with. I mean, you're doing pretty well.
But I was actually a much better student in college because that's something I'm like, okay, now I give a fuck about this.
Yeah, same.
For a while, I only did 3 semesters there because I clept a bunch of stuff beforehand. So like I got all some of the gen ed stuff out of the way. So
Really?
I was going to their. I already had a bunch of credits going into college. So I was going mostly to their business school. So I was taking like, business administration classes and all sorts of stuff. And that's where I started getting really tired of fucking college
Yeah.
because I thought it was going to be like, I wanted to learn how to run a business, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'll go to the business school. You learn more about business, right?
That is the implication.
Yes. However, it was fucking wrong.
Yeah, it's not what happens at all.
Campbell's a great school, but I wanted to go there because they had such a good law school in Raleigh.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the better ones, but yeah, their business school basically taught me how to work at a business, how to write corporate memos and all sorts of shit. And I'm just like, man,
Is that what business school is?
that's what it was for me. And I
It
was like,
feels that way when I'm looking back on it myself.
yeah, it's like, this is how to be a number 40 to 100 in the rung on the corporate ladder employee at
Yeah.
a big corporation is what it was teaching me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't feel like this is going to help me make money at all.
I'm uncomfortable with how accurate this is, to be honest.
That's why I left. I was like, this isn't teaching me what, and to be honest, I was super depressed about it. I was like, man, what I wanted to do with the military side of things, I'm like, I got convinced to drop that, do the law school stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Went into that. I was so bored out of my mind, I actually started a YouTube channel while I was doing it, which is the one I have now.
What year was this?
2014.
2014 is when you started it?
Yeah, first video was just me shooting a machine gun.
And it was
Like a 7-second video, but
AK guy? That was the title, or do you remember what it was named initially?
yeah, it was the AK guy, which now it's Brandon Herrera.
Yeah.
But that's old school.
Ooh,
Skinny fat me.
wood.
That was God, that would have been like 2017, something like that.
Look at you.
Because Rugged Suppressors brought down a 240 Bravo, which you probably can't show that on the podcast because that's full auto.
Yeah.
But yeah, fucking stupid YouTube rules.
Even if it's like a picture in picture, we can't show it probably?
You show it in picture, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But they brought down a suppressed 240 Bravo, and I was like, I have a weird request, but if I'm shooting this, can I shoot it shirtless Rambo style? And they're like, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I started that channel in 2014. Just as like a hobby side project, whatever. I'd done YouTube before. I had like other channels before that I grew a few thousand, deleted them because I started realizing that women smell nice, and YouTube was not cool back in the day.
No, it was not.
No,
Everyone loves Mr. Beast. They forget that he counted to 100,000 once.
Yeah,
It's 1, 2.
Everybody forgets that fucking part.
Yeah.
Before I go too far down that way, I was like, I'm going to drop out of college, and I'm going to try something that I is a Hail Mary pass, but I think I'll like. And I started in the gun space.
You'd always liked guns, right?
I'd always liked guns. I'd started working on the AK-50 project at this point because I'd been building guns.
That's how long you've been working on it?
Yeah, at that point, I would have been 19, 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just an idea, and I knew nothing about it. Like I knew nothing about weapons design, right? I knew a little bit about building shit, like kind of sketchy shit in my garage.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, so I started into that and started treating that like a job, and it took a couple years, but yeah, it was a couple years of fucking grinding my ass off and like constantly reading, business books and, entrepreneur stuff and mentoring under Chris Baker. Shout out him. Was a local gunsmith who taught me how to be, we call him just a redneck scientist.
Okay.
It's just a good old boy. And he just took me in and taught me a whole bunch of stuff and was helping me with projects and stuff, and just a real good dude. But yeah, just all that started culminating into and doing YouTube, of course, and doing more on that side of things. And after a couple of years, it started getting a little bit of traction.
How many years?
Fuck. From the time I dropped out.
So that's 14. You said you started in 14, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. So that wouldn't have been 2014. I was still in college. That was like my first year. So 2016 would have been the first semester that I dropped out of college.
Okay.
Because I went to SHOT Show that year. That was my first SHOT Show.
That was your first year?
Yep.
As that AK guy or just Brandon?
It was the AK guy at the time.
Okay.
But I changed my name later on. I think like a year later, year or two. Because I realized like, I didn't want to be pigeonholed into just AK stuff.
Yeah.
And also I started realizing like from a brand perspective, like I want to be able to do other stuff.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the people that would introduce me as, AK guy. And I'm like, some of my friends don't know my real name, which is a weird fucking feeling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would probably say from the moment I dropped out of college to my first anything close to a success, like a viral video or something, was probably 2 years.
So do you remember what that first one was?
It was AR guys versus AK guys was my first.
Okay.
That was the first, like we saw it start to climb like a couple weeks after it was posted. Like it did pretty decent, but it was, I love how that's fucking Wendigoon.
Yeah.
It's not even me.
It's not even
that last
that guy.
Yeah. AR guy versus AK guys.
Yep. And what date was that posted?
I think if you click it, it'll tell the date. Like, yeah.
January 14th of 2019.
Fuck.
Whoa.
Okay, it was 3 years.
Whoa. 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years almost on the dot.
So, before we talk about this, I want to talk about the grind, because this is what people don't really understand. Prior to this, you're grinding out YouTube videos 3 years.
Yeah.
How many videos would you say you posted in that 3 years?
So sometimes I was just shitbag about it. There was like 1 year, I remember I did like 2 videos or something like that. It might have been before I dropped out. It probably was. It was definitely before that. Where I just kind of had it on the back burner. But I don't know if I was doing that around this time or not. But I remember it was around this era I was doing like at least a video a week. Later on, I went to the 2 video a week format for a couple years. And I've now rolled back to like 1 video a week. It's just better sustainability, with the podcast, all the business stuff I'm involved in now, a little bit of the politics, my own channel. It's like, it's the work-life balance just was not having 2 videos a week.
Yeah, that's crazy. There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah, I was doing a bunch of videos back in the day.
I mean, how does it feel?
Sorry, allergies are fucking killing me here now.
No, it's actually rough here. Like it's a whole thing. But I wonder if you can speak more towards like what was that driving force? Like what kept you moving forward during that time where it's like, okay, I think I've got a thing here.
Yeah.
But what's making you like, let's keep pushing.
I didn't really give myself a choice. Because in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going back to fucking school.
Okay.
I think I made an arrangement with my parents where I was like, yeah, if this doesn't work out by a certain date, I'll go back to school, whatever. Because, they were supportive and whatnot. And they're just like, look, chase what you want to a degree.
Yeah.
But you got to be realistic about it. And sorry, Ma, I lied.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll go back to school if, it doesn't work out by that. That was never going to happen.
It was never going to happen.
No, I'm like, I was going to chase this to the end of the earth because the alternative was a lot darker. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to throw everything I got into this. And was just working on the gun stuff, was working on the AK-50, was working on like, because the AK-52 on top of that was another big vehicle for kind of the, I guess, first time I went viral. I think actually that, let me go back on that. Actually, the Herrera Guys vs. AK Guys was the first time I had like a viral hit that was my own, like my comedy, like skit kind of thing. Yeah. AK-50 was the first thing that started getting some notoriety.
Okay.
84,000 views 7 years ago. It looks like,
which to me was fucking crazy.
Year 4 was the year that you became pretty consistent. I don't know how many of these videos have actually been removed, but
a lot of them have gotten like unlisted and private.
Gotcha.
Just shit that just isn't really like
yeah.
Stuff that I wouldn't really just keep up there. It's just like a dumb video here and there of like 12 seconds of me shooting a gun or something.
If we're going by what's on the video playlist right now, it looks like, that 4th year is where you really start to become
really ramping up.
Yeah.
Because it was, again, 2 years after I had started, but 2 years in and like I buckled down. I'm like, all right, we're getting close to crunch on this one. Like, let's take this real fucking seriously and just, start treating this like a job.
Yeah.
And that turned into treating it like multiple jobs, really.
Yeah.
So I was doing at least 80 hours a week on it.
Because it's not just your channel. You also had your gun store as well, right? You're making weapons too, correct?
Yes. So I was technically at the time, I was an 0702 FFL.
Okay.
Which I still am. I don't know why I said at the time. But I really wasn't super big on that side of things. Like we weren't like pumping out guns as like the main source of income. But that was always the goal, at least to me at the time. I was like, man, I'm going to grow this YouTube channel so I can market my guns.
Yeah. Smart.
And, it was kind of like a symbiotic thing. And it just, what ended up happening is, the YouTube just took on an entirely different life of its own. Yeah. By about this time, we're getting into
double digits.
It was starting to take on its own, just taking root and taking off.
Yeah. Because then it's then the internet kind of starts telling you what to do, right? Because you get that, you're in that feedback of like, you're creating these types of videos and people are responding to them, and then it's definitely probably easier, cheaper, more cost effective to make YouTube videos about guns than just making a bunch of guns and selling them, I would imagine.
No, at that time we were still like, I was nowhere near what I would consider successful at that point. Or I was not like, YouTube wasn't paying the bills yet.
Okay. The AK guy 2018 rewind.
It looks like anything AK related is where you're getting that spike at.
Yeah, and especially AK-50 stuff and whatnot, like was always doing pretty well. But I would also do like skits and all sorts of things that, it's back before A, the algorithm was what it is today, and B, before I knew a lot about YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing stuff that I think is cool or things I think is funny. Or things I think will work. And I'm just doing what I recommend people do, even to this day, is just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Because, that right there, AK Guys versus AR Guys changed the fucking trajectory of my life.
4 point, was that 5 or 4.8?
4.8. But this is the first video to cross 1 million.
Yes.
Yeah. And then that changes the whole channel.
100%. I was like, wow, people love that. Let's do that again.
What's that like? That first million pop? When that hit 1 million, you're like, whoa.
It was me and Delance, is my videographer, editor. We were at SHOT Show at the time, I think, when that started taking legs. Whoa. And at the time, we'd only built the channel to maybe like, we'd only built the channel to maybe like, I don't know, 20, 25,000 subs. Even at this point, like doing this many videos and whatnot and getting some somewhat successful videos out of it, that skyrocketed it. And that's where we went to like 30,000, 40,000 subs. And me and him were just like watching it like, oh, fuck. Like,
whoa.
Let's do that again.
At SHOT Show, too. That's crazy.
Yeah, like we were just like, we would have the YouTube studio pulled up in our phones and just like, it's still doing it. It's still doing the thing.
Dude,
and just
what
that
a
excitement.
feeling.
I wish I could feel that again. It's just like that.
What I love about going through this is, one, you could kind of see everything that you're talking about, right? Like it's like you're trying different things, you're finding what works, you stick to it for a while, you step out of it a little bit.
My thumbnails started getting better.
Yeah, like you can see the growth, and it's incredible. And I think a lot of people can learn from this, and I know we can too. It's like, man, it takes time. Like like this stuff is a grind. Like there's no, like very few people have that instant success where the algorithm just embraces you, but some people have to go through that grind, and it's pretty cool to look at.
It took me a little longer than it should have because I'm a little, so like my growth curve, my knowledge curve is a little different, but no, it was definitely a growing and learning experience for sure. And I mean, that's true with most of this stuff. I mean, with the AK-50 project, with the firearm manufacturing side of things, with the YouTube, it's like when you start out a project and you're fucking 18, you're going to have to do a lot of growing and learning to even start being anything remotely close to successful.
Yeah. But what I like about it is how honest you are. You're not like, oh, well, like, you're like, dude, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And like, that's the things that like people, especially on the internet now, the internet now is much faster than it was when you started, for sure. Like there's more internet use than ever. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff that people do to even pop, they can figure out a few little tricks or whatever. But like, definitely not even close to like the level of like, there's like fervency around you. And like,
Scrabble word of the day. I like it.
yeah. Like people have like this, energy's not the right word. They have this, dedication to you, right? Like they're like, that's the AK, that's Brandon Herrera. Like it's,
Which is I've never gotten used to.
do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It
not-
still weirds me. Not weirded out is like not the right word, but it's like
they're like every time, and it's, but they're like, are you Brandon?
yeah,
They're like, are you Brandon Herrera? And you're like, I try to be, or something. You say something, and you're always very kind to people, and
I got a bunch of different canned lines because you
have to.
It's funny. B, it makes it entertaining for me too.
Yeah,
Just to see how people react. Sometimes I'll fuck with people.
yeah.
Like, nah, man, sorry. Or, no, it's my brother. No, it looks just like me, though.
You look just like a Mexican guy that makes guns, though. I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. You'd be surprised.
No, but just to see how people react to it is kind of funny. But there was one interaction I had at the Denver airport that was always like, I was like, man, I wish I could have recorded that. That was always got written to the hard drive. I'm like, that was one of my favorite interactions. They have like these massive escalators in the Denver airport where it like goes up like 2 levels at a time or something like that. And I was going up or down, and then there was a guy who was going the opposite direction, and they like pass in the middle. And then he basically does the face and he just goes,
Yeah.
and does that. And I just give him a nod. And like he turns around all crazy and like we were just going opposite directions and just like walked away.
No one will believe me.
And no one will ever believe you.
Dude, but that's the goal. The goal, though, is to get to if you are going to be famous, to get to a place where you're like Bill Murray moving through life, like walking up behind people, taking their French fries and then being like, no one will ever believe you, and then just leaving.
Man's a legend.
So cool. I saw him push a paparazzi recently. That was actually sick. I don't blame him for that.
What
Dude,
happened?
every AR versus AK guy is plus million views.
Yeah.
You found what worked, and you stuck to it for a minute.
Also, there's a direct correlation between length of hair and views.
Yeah, my hair got kind of wild there for a minute.
No, the longer it gets, the more successful it is.
That's the secret. That's the secret.
Be gone. I like that. Be gone thought.
What was that one?
Go back down. It says a little bit more.
What was I talking about?
I don't know.
See, oh, yeah. I think that was a gun meme review.
Yeah, gun meme review.
Man, some of these like
Gun meme review.
these are so old now that it's like I don't remember the shit I've said.
Is that Beto? What's up, Beto?
Be gone, thought.
That's
But
hilarious.
we were still back then. Like even now, like me and Delance will get together and talk about how much we used to experiment with stuff on YouTube with just even doing like intro skits and different things like that. Just stuff that I really want to get back to some of that. Where it's like I want to.
Dude, your AK-50 intro.
I was really proud of that.
Can we pull that? Brandon, give us permission.
You have permission.
Okay. Tim, don't hurt this. Right there. Down.
Oh,
Not that
sorry.
one.
The intro to that was that because that was my, if I could say real quick, that was my love letter to the entire AK-50 project.
Yeah. How long you worked on this?
oh fuck, I don't know, about 8-10 years, something like that. So like
That's incredible.
When we were recording this, I wrote, because we were obviously playing off of 2 different Marvel movies. Actually, it's Iron Man 3 is where I got the narration part from.
Yeah.
But the intro is Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
With the slow-mo and the Angel of the Morning and everything. I wrote, when I was writing the narration for it, I realized we were closing the AK-50 chapter a little bit.
Yeah,
where it's like, we're AK-50, you know, that sort of thing. Like, you know, we've been working on this forever. It's like, now we've got something where I'm willing to call. Is it perfect? Will we change it? Yeah, but like it's done.
Yeah.
And it felt like sending your kid off to college.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, fuck. Because like I wrote the narration and I'm just like, all right, this is good. And the first time I went to read it out loud, I had to stop because I like started choking up.
Well, you've been building
like,
this thing.
Fuck.
I mean, as long as I've known you, it's been a running joke. People are like, what about the AK-50? What about the AK-50? It's not like you haven't been working on it.
Yeah.
Like you're doing something no one's ever done before, right?
It's also a lot of hurry up and wait because a lot of times you get bottlenecked by, okay, we think we finished the design. Now to send it off to a third-party shop who's going to take 4 months to build it.
Yay.
You have so many different things like that.
Yeah.
It's like, and now we can't do the next part until we get this part back from the shop. That's another 4 months.
Yeah.
It's, especially when you don't have unlimited money.
Yeah.
Like, because in the very early days, we were very tight
Yeah.
on the dollar, and it's very visibly evident.
Play this. This is so good.
Yeah, this was 100% the love letter to the entire thing.
More liberty, less government. Amen, brother.
It shouts out my boy Wes Verdell.
A famous man once said, "There is no real ending. It's just the place where you stop the story." Who said that? What does it even mean? Doesn't matter. I said it because he said it, so now he was famous, and it's basically getting said by 2 well-known guys. I don't... Tell you what, let's just start from the beginning.
I mean...
Shouts out Gallagher and Owen for this. This itself took like 2 weeks.
Setting up everything.
This is like cinema grade.
This is incredible, dude. A man with main characters.
It's very much a Deadpool.
Yeah.
Two shots. For it was I who chose to start. I see no need to take me home.
The coolest shot of a 3D printer ever made.
Just call me angel of the morning. Just touch my cheek.
Zach hammering nothing.
It's perfect, really. There it is. I'm not gonna lie, I'm bricked like a masonry right now.
Like a
My
mason.
name is
Dude,
Brandon Herrera.
when you pull it back, I mean, I've shot that gun. Let it be known I've shot it. Have you done it? Probably not. AK-50 boys in the house.
We joined a very exclusive group, which is now becoming much less exclusive since we took it to that one range day. But
Yeah, but they didn't take photos. I told people they weren't allowed to. So, just kidding. Totally just kidding. But like,
shit.
it's got the reward though. Like you talk about listening to the kid off to college. It's the thing you've been working for so long, right? That feeling of like, oh, I did it. I dropped out of college. I had a plan. You know, it wasn't
and
just
for
a YouTube.
whatever fucking crazy reason it worked.
Yeah, and it worked. And then on top of it, like you did basically an impossible task.
Well, I don't know. It's definitely a task that a lot of people told me was impossible.
Yeah.
And I'm over here thinking like, well, at the end of the day, like, yes, this is normally something that's undertaken by a, $100 million company or a country.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, fucking Ronnie Barrett was a photographer.
He was.
and like, you know, taking a lot of inspiration from him and stuff like that. Like, you don't have to be the guy already to be able to do something like that. Like, I don't know. His story to me is just super cool. It's like, and it all comes down to like, at the end of the day, a lot of fucking mountains get moved by a redneck in a garage.
That's it. And you did it. I mean, it's just a crazy evolution of like doing what you want to do, even when it doesn't seem to make sense, but you still have that dream. I think it's lost on people chasing dreams like that, to be honest.
You think?
Yeah. I don't think like this is like an American success story, right? The same way Ronnie's is too. Like you're doing something that doesn't seem possible. That's not going to work, blah, blah, blah. But you chase it regardless of like, should you do that?
Yeah.
But you're like, I can see it. I can see, you always saw, you had the vision. You always saw that moment where you pull it to the rear and release it. Like it's
sometimes the answer is no, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You do it fucking anyway because you're not that smart, and that's me to a T.
Well, it's working out for you.
It's I don't know. Well, it's interesting now being on the other side of it. We're still making tweaks on the 50. You know, it's like
Are you gonna sell them ever?
We'd have to have a very good dance partner.
Yeah.
I'm not saying no. A lot of shit changed, honestly. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this either, but a lot of shit changed with Scott's accident.
Yeah.
That fucked me up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it made me do a little bit. He's a very good friend. And like I was worried.
He's the nicest dude ever.
When we first found out about it, it wasn't clear whether or not he was going to survive.
Weren't you like the first people that found out, you and Cody?
Yeah. I remember Cody calling me one day. I'm driving to, I think from Bunker. And I had my girlfriend in the car at the time, and I'm just jamming out, doing some fucking car karaoke to like 70s classic rock. Mm-hmm. Windows rolled down, beautiful day. And I get a call from Cody, interrupts the song. I'm like, oh, fuck, answer. And I open up joking around. Like, you know, you're interrupting some fucking grade A car karaoke right now, so this better be important. And just dead tone, he goes, Scott had an accident. Mm. And just like my fucking gut sank immediately. It was just a bad time. But that, not my story to tell on that aspect. That's Scott's. But I just remember thinking like, fuck, that's a lot of, not just liability, but it's like, man, if I could never be known as the guy who did that, you know, kind of like if something ever were to happen, it's like, man. So if we ever did it, we'd have to absolutely foolproof it, and we'd have to have a good dance partner, because there's also the undertaking of, you know, manufacturing on a big scale like that. Yeah, is incredibly hard. Which we always made it with the idea of possibly producing it, so that helps. Yeah. Still, that's a massive undertaking. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine it, especially because like you're talking about like you've made this thing, you've achieved the impossible, and now it's like, okay, how do I achieve the next level of impossible? Yeah, well, that's I was starting to get into that, but I have severe ADHD, so I just kind of, you know, go all over the place. You're in good company, brother. Yeah, we're what you call neurodivergent. Yeah. I'm not sure what them words mean. Yeah. The weird thing about being done with it now is that, I don't know, I feel like men are the happiest, or I guess the most fulfilled, when we are progressing toward a goal, not necessarily when we hit it. When you hit it, you get, of course, that burst of dopamine and serotonin, but after that, you're like, fuck, now what? Yep. Yeah. Just defined every moment of my life. I'm always like, yeah, that was cool. You know, it'd be cooler working on something else. That would be more fun than this moment right now. So I kind of had it's kind of weird to put it that way, but like I very quickly had a bit of like postpartum depression with it. Yeah. Where it's like, fuck, now what? Dude, I think all men are General Zod from Man of Steel. He's like, my purpose is my people. If I have no people, I have no purpose. Like, without purpose, I think people were dangerous. I mean, to myself, really, because like idle hands are the devil's playground. But like, I mean, that's true in general. Yeah, like, I mean, it's just so crazy to have like a dream and watch it be built. Like, it's Now it's on to the next thing.
It's on the next thing.
And it was funny because at the time that was my first. When I released that video, the funny part is we were done with the gun for months before we released the video, so I had to like just bite my fucking tongue.
Yeah,
we're AK-50. I'm like, I'm working on a kick-ass video. Shut up.
Yeah.
But I released that the same month as my congressional runoff. So we'd already passed the primary, got into the runoff. Because it was a meme that was fucking with me a little bit because it was kind of fucking true.
Yeah.
Where people are like, well, after I announced I was running for office, the meme was, damn, Brandon will do literally anything but finish the AK-50. Like, yeah. Get that on them bigger jobs.
Yeah, I mean, that leads me right into the thing. Like you were this guy who's like revolutionized gun world, at least in my eyes, in a lot of ways. And I know a lot of people's eyes as well.
I only live for what can be seen through your eyes.
Well, like
that's what makes me happy.
Most gun tubers are gun store people online, and I just feel like I'm going to get in a fight with them. Like they're pretentious and condescending, and they have a way of talking down to you, and you're just like, bro, like, come on, man. Like, you're supposed to be an advocate for this. But you're supposed to be like an advocate for education, helping people to gain knowledge and dispel rumors and fears and like all of those things, right?
Yeah, he doesn't even know about the 3 seashells.
Yeah. No, like, and so, but with you've like humanized it and made it cool. And like, you do little things, like you bring in internet culture and the references and stuff, like those are things I love. Like, I don't watch any other gun tuber really outside of our friends. I don't.
I even our friends, I tell them like, hey man, love you to death.
Yeah.
Grab a beer with you anytime. I don't watch your stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't watch GunTube, period, really. It's just, to me, it's work now.
Well, I'll go to you for stuff that, like, I want explained to me that I trust without it being, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the fucking United Healthcare CEO, that whole thing.
Yeah. I need to tell that story. I don't think I've told this story publicly, but were we on tour? Is that where it was?
Yeah, we had just started the second leg of the Unsub Live tour.
So we're on the Unsub Live tour, and I'm the token veteran that got brought along on the tour to tell my donkey story. And
one of 3, I think.
Yeah, one of 3. Yeah.
4, actually. Fuck. Me and Connor were the only ones that weren't, I think. Actually,
yeah, I mean, after that, you boys were, bled in. Like, you guys were read in pretty well. But the United Healthcare thing happens. And like everyone, the second it happens, everyone's like, blah, 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 this is happening, blah, 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 this is happening. This is the type of gun is used. This, and then there's like the talking head stuff of like, there's this, there's that, there's this, there's that. And Brandon pulls up the video on his phone and he goes, no, it's not that. It's this. And like literally, I want you to break it down, but literally breaks it down in 2 seconds. What is happening? Makes a video like a week later and everything was 100% right. What was it you were able to break just from the grainy?
Well, because everybody was like, he's clearly a really skilled assassin.
Yeah.
He was using a B&T Station 6,
yeah,
which is an assassin gun.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, well, because they're seeing him having to manipulate the gun every round fired. It's like, oh, so it's clearly a break action.
Yeah.
Which makes him super scary. No, it was just, I'm like, no, the guy's an idiot. He just had a Glock 19 with a suppressor on it that didn't know he needed a Nielsen device, which is the booster you have to put in the suppressor to be able to have a rotating barrel, or excuse me, a tilt action barrel, pistol to make it cycle when it has a suppressor on it, because you completely change the weight dynamic and it's just a bunch of things together. You just can't just thread a suppressor on to a pistol and expect it to work, which this guy clearly did.
On a grainy New York City video, he breaks this down. And I was just like, well, that's why Brandon's a subject matter expert.
Oh, that's just why CNN sucks. But
yeah, a wise man once said you don't hate mainstream media enough.
They saying it was a 3D printed gun?
Yeah, they were saying all sorts of stuff, dude.
Which it was. It was a 3D printed frame on a Glock 19, I believe, and it was a 3D printed can.
Why would you do that? Why would you print the frame on 3D? I understand the can. It's unregistered. That makes sense to me.
I don't, especially... I mean, I guess he wasn't planning on getting caught, so it doesn't matter. But Yeah, it was a weird decision. The can makes sense because those are pretty hard to get. But
Yeah.
you could just, again, 3D print them. The frame, I'm a little confused by.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Like, I guess he just didn't have access to it, but I don't think he was from New York. I don't remember, but yeah.
It's like from Maryland or something, comes from like a wealthy family, like all sorts of stuff. But,
Clocks are $500. That one didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Especially if you're already going to go through the trouble of buying a threaded barrel and everything for it. I don't know. But in his manifesto, he left, he talked about basically how easy it is to just 3D print this stuff. He's like, I'm not a fucking expert. I just, spent 2 hours learning CAD and, 3D printing. Like, this isn't hard. Anybody with an Ender 3 can figure this out pretty quickly and above 80 IQ.
Thanks, guy. It's a very interesting change in American culture too.
Which part?
I don't condone violence of any sort, as no one in this room does. But like, it really kind of
depends on what sort.
Well, it really kind of.
Sometimes it is the answer.
Here's the thing.
Not in this case, but like sometimes.
There's the way all of us talk, and there's the way the rest of the world. Like the things that we know, like the jokes we make, even are not what normal people talk about, right?
Yeah.
You know that, right? So like, it felt like everyone else woke up to the fact of, all the stuff that happens with like our healthcare systems and all these different things that are happening. We're like, whoa, what was going on? And it doesn't mean the guy should have been killed for it by any means, but like people were like, wait, they're about to put AI systems into everything, and that it had been, rejecting like 90% of claims or whatever. Like
people can be right while still being wrong.
Yeah. And it was just like, all of a sudden people were like, oh wait, our healthcare system isn't that great. I've always said this, it's not our healthcare system that's bad. I don't think the issue is our healthcare system. I think it's the tie of insurance into our healthcare system that really makes it bad.
Especially like the way that, not to dive too deep down that rabbit hole in this one, but like the fact, the way benefits started on jobs and things like that was literally a World War II thing where it became illegal to a certain degree to raise people's, to raise wages during World War II because they didn't want to pull people away from the front.
I didn't know that.
And so what they started doing is they started offering extra legal incentives. So like healthcare, dental, things like that, adding it on because you weren't technically raising their income. I want to say that's right. I'm saying that very confidently, but I would love to have some verification on that. But I believe that's the case. And
so benefits were added as a job incentives or something?
Yeah, and now people rely on them.
Yeah, no.
It's spawned this entire just beast.
As a what? As a job?
Yeah. And during World War II.
Additional compensation.
Let me see here.
It's just been like
Attract and retain talent.
I mean, I personally don't like insurance at all, and I wish it didn't exist. So I'm not the best guy to point to on this. Employee benefits began appearing in 1920s and 30s and became more common in the 1940s and 50s. World War II played a significant role in their expansion as employers used fringe benefits to attract and retain workers amidst wage and price controls.
Wage and price controls. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I knew there was some basis to that. I don't remember. I'm like,
yeah.
I really hope I didn't just completely talk out of my ass on that one. But
well, I mean, it pays to have a boss. That's the main takeaway. Is like he can always keep you on track and he always knows what's up. But like again, he didn't need to die for that because like he's not the evil part of the system in my opinion. It's the system.
If you think anything's going to change because you shot a guy named Brian, you're fucking crazy.
Yeah, like that's just like I don't know why we haven't. That's all I'm gonna say is I don't know why we have insurance in general because like can't we just pay for stuff normally? Like I don't know. Like you pay insurance every month in case you need to use a benefit. What if you just kept that money you had every month?
Well, and also
Not
the
everybody's
prices.
disciplined.
What's up?
Not everybody's disciplined like that, right?
I mean, for sure.
It's the
but
same reason why people don't have retirement. It's why they rely on Social Security, and those other benefits that are out there.
But
It's
we
'cause
should still never see.
Yeah. Which
exactly.
we should
Or
not.
my generation will never see it.
Oh, no, we're not getting a drop
No.
of it. We should not rely on Social Security.
No, absolutely not.
No.
Should be disciplined enough.
But the with insurance, that's one of the things that raises the prices of everything in the healthcare world, because the healthcare providers will have a higher price because they know they're going to have to bargain with insurance, where they meet in the middle. And it's like, okay, well then if you don't have a bunch of attorneys and everything like the healthcare or like the insurance companies have, or people that are basically on retainer just to bargain down prices of things, you're just fucked. Like, because now you got this super high price that's inflated for that reason.
Yeah.
It's a I'm like radically oversimplifying.
Well, no, you're
everything,
actually,
but, like,
I spent a decade in healthcare. That's what I did prior to all this stuff, is I worked in healthcare.
and that's your experience?
Yeah. I mean, there's literally, it used to be like a person's job, but it's like a software system now. It's called the Charge Master. So what it does is it compares, Brandon Herrera's patient notes against DC, whatever IM coding, and the patient billing coding gets updated a lot more than it ever used to. And then it goes, okay, here's all the billable items, and it runs it through that, and it pitches that to insurance, and they haggle over what they want to pay, what they won't pay, and they kick it over to you, and they say what you will pay or won't pay, and then they kick it over to patient financing, and they go, Brandon will pay this much. What if we put him on the payment plan? Our statistics say, like, one of these companies I used to like put at hospitals is like, their whole goal is just to get cash back in the hospital. So put you on payment plans. But they found out this crazy thing is that they don't put crazy interest on people's payments plans. They pay them off rather quickly, as opposed to feeling like it's a debt they'll never get out from under, so they don't pay off.
Right.
So it's just like, I look at it and I go, do we need insurance? I don't know. I don't think we need it. So like, I don't know. It's just.
I definitely don't want it to be mandated.
I don't
that
want
was the individual mandate was fucking crazy.
Yeah, I don't like the government mandating anything at all.
No.
There's few
Not a big
things
fan.
that I want them like to have their pause on. I can't think of anything that's good right now.
It's like the government is just always the black thumb of industry. It's like whatever they touch turns to shit every fucking time.
Yeah, I can't think of. I think the last good thing they did is when they went into meat markets and they're like, you guys have to stop giving everyone diseases in like 1910, but that's about it. I think that was the last good thing they did.
It's like one of their solutions to people bootlegging alcohol during Prohibition was, oh, we'll just poison it.
Yeah.
Fucking what?
Yeah.
Like the amount of people who died off of poisoned liquor during Prohibition is fucking crazy.
All because they couldn't get their piece of it.
All because they were, because they were trying to save people.
Yeah, they're trying to say, we're doing this for your own good.
Oh, we're trying to help you. Alcohol is going to ruin your life, so I'm going to fucking kill you.
Well, the scariest words ever are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan. Shout out, Ronnie.
Shout out to my boy.
Shout
Some
out to
people
my
are
boy.
saying that's what's going on with the jab as well. So
Yeah, and what at the end of the day, I just don't like anything getting mandated. If you want to take the vaccine, I had family members that took the vaccine, everything like that. I got nothing against that. Sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Just don't tell me I fucking have to. They're like, well, we didn't tell you. The way the narrative changed on that fucking pissed me off too.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Heated on this one.
Go ahead.
They're like,
yeah,
we didn't mandate it. We just said you were going to lose your job and your ability to pay for your lifestyle with
I've seen this. They're doing a little bit of revisionist history. Like, we didn't mean like fired. We just mean you would not have a way to provide for your family. It's not the same
we
thing.
didn't force you. We just said you'd be fired and homeless if you didn't. It's like, we didn't just tell you legally had to. I'm like, fuck you. This is Olympic level gaslighting.
We said COVID passports. What we meant is renew your passports, not COVID. You guys are getting stuck on the semantics. You know, it's funny. They're even trying to do a new revisionist history on the pangolin. You know, that was the culprit of COVID forever, but now I saw there's a new Netflix documentary called The Journey of a Pangolin. The weird little bat thing. They said that like merged with a bat in the wet market and somehow it like outbreaked its way over to America.
Did you see what the White House just did?
The COVID.gov thing?
The COVID.gov,
That is
yeah.
crazy. Will you pull that up, please?
yeah.
I think the best part is Trump at the top, like walking.
Which, like, this is the shit.
Leak.
I have been saying that since the beginning of fucking COVID.
What?
The lab shit. Like, I've been saying that. I said that back in 2020 when it was really not a popular opinion.
Yeah.
I saw some studies on it, and some people broke it down in a very, like, logical way.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. But also, these were the things that were using the Wayback Machine, scrubbed from Chinese websites and different things like that. I'm like,
really?
Oh, fuck. Okay. Like, they just broke it down in a very, I don't know, a way that made a lot of sense to me.
I love this because look at the map. It even measures it.
Because, I mean, this is something that, which is crazy too. 5 years ago would have gotten you banned from social media.
Brother, we would be in jail right now.
Yeah, this is shit that
This is from a .gov website, YouTube manual reviewer. So don't be rude.
Zuckerberg and Susan and all of them would have completely deplatformed you for talking about this. But, you know, there's your freedom of speech for you.
We have freedom of speech. We don't have freedom of consequences. Again, the best part of that website is him walking because in my mind, he's like, so we're going to talk about the lab leak, but we need a strong image. I think me, like, marching. What do you guys think? Good idea, we're doing it.
You know, they showed him like 3 different banners and he chose that one.
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
I know a thing they used to say is that it was when they were really trying to take apart his credit. It was in the 2016-2020 timeframe. They're like, Trump has such a bad ability to pay attention that the only way to get him to pay attention in briefings is to say his name every other sentence. And that was what, like, they were saying is, like, that's how, like, egocentric and whatever he is. Because the idea is, like, well, here's what we need to do. Brandon. So, like, can you look over here? Brandon. So, like.
Was that, I'd never heard that narrative.
So it was just, like, a thing they were trying to push of, like, he's so, like, focused on himself, whatever. But, like, honestly, it would never work because it would be the most disruptive thing ever. Well, sir, you see in China, they're Trump, and we're trying to do the best we can. They keep trying to go invade Taiwan, Trump, and like, but that was like literally
it's
how
like
they
a
worded
CIA
it.
activation phrase.
Yeah, like it's just it doesn't work. But like,
the one thing I do know, I think I can say this. I don't think it's some sort of nuclear secret. He really likes diagrams and like basically just a lot of maps, a lot of pictures, a lot of. Like if you're showing a target area, like having a little like diorama kind of shit. And I'm like, that's just good communication.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
also, one of them saved his life when he looked at it. Ooh.
Yeah. Also, yeah, no, I'd be a big fan of him too.
Yeah.
And if you look at the chart,
which
is crazy too, because he doesn't do that a lot. If you ever look at his speeches or anything like that,
he loves looking at the crowd.
Well, he never uses supplementary stuff like that.
No. Tell me about that. You broke that down. Your footage is used a lot on that. Because
usually by
that. And people who crop out like your logo and Ballistic High Speed's logo. There's a few guys on Twitter who did it, which is ridiculous.
They're like, look at these MAGA bros showing that the assassination was fake. Or like, what are you talking about? Like, we literally proved the opposite. The entire point. They just don't know how ballistic gel works or high speed footage for that matter.
But like, it's such a crazy moment in time that happened. I mean, from the time, that kid who also happened to be in BlackRock commercials climbs onto a roof and then with a ladder gets off a shot and then he stands up and does the iconic photo. But like, obviously, you've done this before. You've broken down these types of scenarios. Did you ever think it would have, like, when you did that video, that it was going to be like such a kind of, I don't know, fire starter? Because it feels like it just made things more intense.
That one, yeah, I did. Because what I wanted to do, because it was ticking me off that I'm like all these. There were a lot of conspiracy theories about it from people who are very clearly ballistically.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to show, like, hey, this is the one area I do have a little bit of expertise. I feel very comfortable breaking this down. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of these things that I feel like are very easy to dispel if you can break this down to a level that the average person can understand.
Yeah.
But it was also one of the only times, that video was one of the only videos I've ever sat back and went, I don't know if this is a good idea.
Like putting it out there.
Yeah. Because like that was when it was still very hot.
Oh, brother, it was blazing.
That was a different one.
That's
That was the second one.
Sorry, there's so many assassins. That's the guy who had ceramic tiles in his plate carrier, right?
Yeah, that guy was a real winner.
Testing again, Herrera's just dummy right there.
That was also, turns out I could have used a much cheaper rifle.
Yeah.
That I didn't realize there was like a difference between a total accuracy international gun and just like an accuracy international chassis on like a REM 700.
Okay.
Which I think what they used.
Mm-hmm.
So like they actually used like a $3,000 or $4,000 gun, and I bought like the $15,000 loadout. I was like, fuck. As soon as I figured that out, I felt like such a dipshit.
The more you know.
Yeah, the more you know. But I knew I needed to get this video out fast for sure, because there was so much misinformation getting spread out and whatnot, and I knew it was,
Well, because the initial thing was it was all staged, right? It was staged and fake, which I don't know anyone who's like, we're going to pretend to kill you, don't move.
Yeah,
I'm not doing
with a real gun.
With a real gun. What?
And a real alleged shooter, like Beavis and Butthead looking head ass that you trust to take shots at your head and nick your ear.
Nick your ear, and
wild.
he will kill someone behind you.
Yeah, Corey Competeur, I believe is his name. I might be mispronouncing that, but yeah, I fucking killed.
No, someone died, and then the idea is like, we'll just roll the dice. You'll be okay. This will guarantee your presidency.
It's like that meme of the the trajectory of the bullet from where he was looking versus if he was head on.
Yeah,
and it was the grays was cheap gas, Civil War.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, I think that would have destroyed democracy, honestly, in America. It would have taken us a moment to recover. I don't know what would have happened. I don't think anyone knows what would have happened. Because, like,
we haven't had that.
Since the 70s or whatever.
Well, yeah, since Kennedy.
Or Gerald Ford. Ronald Reagan got shot.
Well, yeah. If you want to talk about like an unsuccessful assassination attempt, Ronald Reagan, which he's such a G.
Yeah,
because like that story of just like his two famous one-liners from getting shot. The man is actively shot.
Yeah,
that's another recreation I want to do because I have that pistol. It's like a little it's a .22 revolver and it feels like a toy. It was like a little German .22 revolver. But his one-liner to his wife is, "Nancy, I forgot to duck." Or something along those lines. But his when they were putting him under for surgery to remove the bullet or to stitch him up, whatever they were doing, they put him under. And he went to the surgeons as he was, getting about to be operated on. His last words, allegedly, before he went under for the surgery was, "Well, I hope you're all Republicans." Like the man was just even shot. The man still just.
Damn, that's cool as hell.
He's got wit,
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
And then nothing like the Trump, the iconic, the fight. Like
that was crazy.
What a wild impromptu moment.
I mean, I don't know. I've never seen someone understand a moment more in my entire life than him being like, "Wait, fight. And then there's, old girl fumbling with her holster.
Jesus,
and then the new director, this secret. Look at him. Look, that was it.
Yep.
I remember when I heard they shot him, I was like, they tried to kill him. They tried to kill him. The kid whose house got cleaned and sanitized and only had one spoon, one fork, one knife, one bowl, one plate. That's normal, right? That's normal, right?
Kid watched The Accountant too many times.
Yeah, what?
Kid watched it.
Dude, Accountant 2 is coming out. I can't wait.
I'm stoked. We're going to see that in the theaters for sure. But yeah, they literally had, the media, the people who fucking hate this guy, captured the bullet in like the action cam, like just a 1 in a million photograph.
They hate it till those ratings show up.
Yeah, no shit.
They hate it till those ratings show up. It's just weird that, I mean, I say this all the time. I could live with like a normal year, like a soft, normal, passive, not multiple wars happening year. Like something.
Would be pretty nice.
I don't think that happens till he's out of office, brother. And it's not because shit that like it's just a divide, man. And yeah, it's like they're the two parties are struggling to find middle ground, and it's because of the hatred for him that they're not acknowledging the shit that's like legitimately bad, such as the immigration, like the deportation shit that we got going on with what's his name.
Holman.
It's like you have a legitimate illegal fucking alien here who they're arguing deserves due process.
Oh, the MS-13 guy?
Yeah, and it's just
Dude,
like
Rich went on Timcast and talked about it yesterday. Are those friendly tattoos that you found in your law enforcement career? MS-13 on knuckles. Does that mean that guy's a good person? Okay, whatever. I mean, if
two federal judges come down and agree, you can't top that.
That's not normal, correct? Federal judges agreeing like that doesn't seem like it's normal. I don't understand. And now, like, a senator's going to like free
hang
that
out
kid
with him
or something.
crazy.
Like, I don't understand. Like, what is it? What's his
we
name?
have legitimate like Abrego Garcia or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we have like legitimate victims, legitimate American victims who have been killed by illegal immigrants that haven't been given this much attention from that side of the party.
Yeah.
And then you have an active, MS-13 alleged gang member.
These are the people that wouldn't talk to Laken Riley's mother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand because the argument is, well, he didn't. You can't prove he's gang affiliated. It's like, well, we can prove he's illegal,
and we can prove his criminal record.
That should be the end of the conversation. I don't know what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
it's like why are we against this? I don't know. I have a hard time seeing the other side sometimes.
Yeah, it just goes back to, I mean, they just don't want to acknowledge the good that the president's doing at this time, and until you can.
Do you think it'll ever slow it?
I mean, you're having prominent people in the Democratic Party coming out, wanting to meet the president and wanting to acknowledge those victories and stuff like that. So I'd like to think that there's a trend, to where we can finally find some middle ground, but it might not be until he's out of office.
I truly blame the media as far as
100%.
like they have whipped up such a frenzy. They have multiple people buying into the propaganda to the point where they're willing to shoot the president-elect or the, at that time, a candidate. They're willing to shoot somebody over this and ruin their entire life. And still, like, I mean, that kid the other day that killed his parents and had left a manifesto like he was going to kill the president, everything like that. Like that is such a crazy level of effective propaganda, and they're culpable. Like they are 100% to blame for that. And you will never have the reason for the division, especially, is because you've been telling people all day long that this guy's Hitler. He's worse than Hitler. He's going to be end of the United States. Somebody should do something about it.
Yeah. Somebody
should. If Democrats now try to reach across the aisle, work on some stuff that we mutually agree with, and they work with him, now their base hates them.
Yeah.
So you've made it impossible to cooperate because of the amount of propaganda you put out. It's.
I mean, but speaking of propaganda and information being put out about you, I mean, you saw firsthand during your run for Congress,
excuse me,
how quickly everything can change, right?
Yeah.
I remember when I first heard Cody being like, Brandon's running for Congress. I was like, Brandon's running for Congress? He's like, yeah, so we're running for Congress. I was like, okay, what do I do, my liege?
I knew it was going to be bad, and it was in some ways better than I thought it would be, but in other ways worse. Like we made a much bigger stink than I think I anticipated, because I don't know. I was expecting to get targeted. I was not expecting to have $13 million spent against me. That was pretty crazy. Well, like it wasn't all against me, but a lot of it was for him, but a lot of it was against me.
Still pretty cool.
To get like my neighbors and shit getting mailers twice a week of just basically saying Brandon Herrera is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And to not be able to go to a Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
And just see like on ESPN, multiple ads being run, basically, Brandon Herrera kicks puppies.
Yeah.
It was a crazy experience. And of course, Cody played into it so much. We'd be at Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Well, no, we'd be at Texas Roadhouse or I use that example, and like a brunch place, whatever. And like I'm on the TV and he would just loudly, it's an attack ad on me. He's like, hey, does anybody know that guy? I'm like, shut up.
Well, it was so cool to see you decide to do a thing, commit to it. And then, I mean, I said this when you first told me about it. I was like, they're probably going to make laws about this after you're done. Like, they'll never let someone with your position, power, and influence, like, come at it this way. Because, I mean, spoiler alert, you almost won.
Yeah, 407 votes in a run. Well, so we had the first primary on March 5th.
Yeah.
Which we did what we succeeded in doing what I wanted to do, which is take him to a runoff.
Yeah.
So we had multiple people in the primary, but it in a runoff state, for those who don't know, if you drag the incumbent below 50%, then it's now a special election where it's just the people who came in first and second have a runoff election against each other, a special election. And so that's exactly what we did. And in the runoff election, in a full-on federal congressional district, I ended up losing by 407.
Because a ton of cash came in at the last moment.
Yeah, there's a couple of groups that came in the last 2 weeks, dropped individually like 1.52 million on like TV ad blitz and stuff like that to make sure I didn't get in, which is insane. But
and
also,
everything you had done had just been grassroots and your own fundraising.
Yeah. And it's funny because we actually had to get a few attorneys involved, like as you were saying, like as far as the they'd have to make laws about this.
Yeah.
We had to get like a few like attorney consultations and people who deal with the FEC to figure out like, how do we do campaign merch? Because it's not very normal for a campaign to have people buying merch.
Yeah.
They're like, is that a donation? How do you, like, mostly like you can't give that shit away.
I remember texting you about some of it. It was something like, how do I phrase this? Because you're like, you have to say this because it was about merch or something. It was like, you have to say it this way because that means this and blah, blah, blah.
You got to be careful not to step on your dick when it comes to, FEC regs and whatnot, which thankfully I had some very competent financial people that helped out with that.
Yeah. Well, it was just incredible to see.
Doing the morning news.
Like all the stuff. Like I remember like once we were at brunch and you like got up and you're like, I just did like a Fox News hit or something. Like you would like literally just like walk to your truck, do a hit, come back and, a news hit and come back and then
some like, radio thing or whatever.
Thing or like a hey or whatever. And then like
break, clear the net, attention all posts, stand by to copy. Now that I've got your attention, I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for watching this episode. If you want to help us continue to grow, it's really simple. There's a few things you can do. You can like, comment, subscribe wherever you are. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, drop a rating and review. Every bit helps to make sure that we can keep doing the After Action podcast and get these stories out there. If you're looking for other ways to support the channel, go to veteranwithasign.com. We got shirts, we got merch, we got stickers, we got more. We even got a bunch of ways for you to save in the affiliate section. Check it out. Now let's get back to the episode.
When it really became serious, and from my point of view, is when that Daily Beast where that girl came out to your thing? Was it
Huffington Post? I think?
One of them. Yeah. Where the girl was like, Brandon Herrera's a and it's just like, honestly, the greatest, coolest article written about you.
She tried to do a hit piece on me because she like
That's it. Look at that photo. That's it. Top left. Yeah. Brandon Herrera wants to go from firing guns YouTube to representing Uvalde in Congress.
It's a dope fucking picture.
Like, look at him.
God, that's gonna be my new wallpaper. Actually, that's fucking cool.
It's an incredible. Like the whole article is like, this young, successful man wants to leave.
in the fucking article. So I was told, so the event was no media. No media was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
I was told, hey, just so you know, Huffington Post is outside. And Huffington Post, for, again, those who don't know, is like fucking left of Stalin.
Yeah.
So they, and I could pick her out immediately.
Yeah.
It's not very hard to tell. Which
You
one of these don't belong?
Yeah.
You know, because I have a very specific type, you know, my audience, and then there's, you know, Huffington Post. But anyway, I told him, like, hey, don't kick her out. Like, I'll go talk to her.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Why not? We're already here. So,
which is kind of bullshit on her part.
It was a little shady on her part from day one, but I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. She's already here. I'll go talk to her. And I take time out of my day. I was told to kick her out. Like, my consultant and everybody was like, hey, should we boot her? I'm like, no. I'll go talk to her for a quick 5 minutes. And she asked me a couple questions. And then I just went about my stuff, did the campaign rally, you know, whole nine. And the article, she seems so fucking inappreciative.
Yeah.
She's like, and he barely made time for me. I'm like, bitch, I wasn't supposed to talk to you at all.
Yeah.
And I went out of my way to be nice and friendly. And then she writes this article that basically just describes my flowing locks and like all sorts of just crazy shit.
She does say stuff that like a scorned lover says. Like she
literally,
it was
weird, right?
It was like, I was like, did Brandon smash it?
It was bizarre. Like I read the article and laughed.
Post, did he get a Huffington Post piece? There it is. Boom. Nailed it. There's one. That was
clever.
Where is it?
The answer is no, but
no, I know you didn't.
Is it weird going against like another Republican, like knowing that you guys align on pretty much everything?
We align on a lot of things, but it was the things we didn't align on. Because like especially at the time, like his Liberty score was in the trash. He had voted on some of the post-Uvalde gun control stuff, which obviously I'm super big on. He had voted against Chip Roy. I think he was the only Republican to vote against Chip Roy's border bill, if I'm not mistaken. I'm a little out of date with my facts on that, but his immigration bill, like he was voting against, and basically called like the border reform anti-American and not Christian. Which does not play well in a Republican district, but B, the biggest border district in the entire country.
Yeah.
So just really just a lot of missteps. And like, I that's why I ran. People are like, oh, well, did you come to Texas just to this? I'm like, no, motherfucker, I lived there for years.
Yeah.
And just
found
out
that was the
that,
thing. Like, it was East Coast Brandon, right? Wasn't that part?
East Coast fake. Yeah, no, I didn't like my representation. I didn't like who was representing me in Congress, and I did the American thing and tried to fucking do something about it.
That's right. That's the thing that like wasn't ever really utilized most, is that this is what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. You literally are successful at everything else you've done. Let me give you some flowers. My man looks good, makes money, entertaining, wants to make change, says, fuck it, I'm going to make some change. That's what you're supposed to do, instead of being like online, like, how dare you, or being like, he had like really nice hair,
The system's rigged, blah, 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 and like all this shit. It's like, you can bitch all day long. You're not going to change anything.
If you're not a part of the solution, you're part of the problem, man.
I mean, you could have very well sat back and, continue doing what you're doing, but you literally put your entire career on the line to affect change.
And it cost me a lot of money. Just an opportunity cost alone was
I believe
crazy.
it.
But I think that also comes to the people who help. Like, this is going to sound, again, I'm going to give flowers out to the audience a little bit, but like the amount of people who came in to support for that, and the people who like did the campaign donations, and the people who were like really just pushing it hard on social media and everything like that really came out for me on that were because they were also coming out and putting their money where their mouth was, and stepping up, which was awesome, because it was a joint effort. Because it was, I always just look at myself as the, I don't know, how would you say it, the spearhead?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not the one who's drawing the bow, whatever. I'm just the vehicle that other people use to be able to effectuate change.
Well, and you did in such a big way, without getting too much into it. I mean, people that I know, Matt and all them were like, we're big fans of Brandon. People that, work with in the political space at the highest levels are like, what he did was incredible, right? Like I think you shook the system up. You showed old people how the new world works. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy that, well, for one, they had to outspend me 10-1 to beat a fucking YouTuber against an incumbent, who incumbents have like a 97% re-election?
In Texas. Not just anywhere, an incumbent in Texas.
97% re-election rate on incumbents. So to lose in a primary is fucking crazy already. To lose to a guy who's never run before, fucking insane. To a guy who is a YouTuber who says fuck on the internet.
Yeah.
Is absurd. There is no precedent for that.
Yeah.
And the fact that they had to bring down the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, to come campaign for him in the last days of the campaign is...
When they started
doing... Do you think it was a full political, like, fucking onslaught on both sides? Like, we cannot have another person. And I'm not sitting here trying to compare you to the president, but, like, let's be honest. On both parties, they all want the same thing. They want to keep the main thing. Anybody from the outside coming in disrupts the system. Mm-hmm. So
there's a lot of people like that.
I was going to say, I believe that both parties got involved and were like, we cannot let this happen.
When they started busting in that cash and then the Speaker of the House and stuff, I was talking to Cody about, I was like, I think he might win, dude. Like, they're really like, we've got to drown him out because they made a full court press like the last week just to try and be like, whatever. And it's not even 1,000, it's 400 votes. Barely. They had to buy every single vote to beat you.
It was crazy. Like, the amount of money spent was something I knew it was going to get crazy. I didn't know it was going to get like that. But it also kind of feels good to know that like I wasted the establishment's money to that degree, where they had to pull out all the stops, and like you are spending life-changing money to talk shit about a YouTuber on TV. Mm-hmm. That's kind of funny to me. Like, peeling back to the bird's eye view, that's objectively funny.
That's fucking hilarious. You're like the comedian in The Watchmen. It's all a joke. Yeah. It's all a fucking joke.
After it all, though, did you get any acknowledgement from, the people, I guess, you competed against? Like, hey, like...
I sat down with Tony after.
Did you really?
Yeah. A lot of people told me I shouldn't, but I'm like... And I'll give him credit for this. I will. We had a very good conversation where... He was very chill about it after, and a lot of people were like, after all the shit he said about you, whatever. I'm like, well, I mean, remember, I said my fair bit of shit about him.
Don't use the Wayback Machine on all of our tweets.
Oh, it's still there. All that shit's still there.
It's still rough.
But I called him, or I shot him a text, because I had his number before.
Yeah.
I shot him a text on election night of the runoff, and I said... it was like 2:30 in the morning. It was like, it was very clear where the things were falling, because it came close. Because at first it was a blowout. He won. But like when they were counting more of the rural counties, it got very tight, and it was very unclear who was going to win. But when it was pretty set in stone by that point, I thought about it for a while, and I shot him a text. I'm like, hey, man. Because, you do a...
concession?
Yeah, thank you. Like concession phone call. And I just texted him. I said, hey, man, I know you're probably like asleep by now. You got, a wife and kids. Let me know if you got time to talk in the morning.
I'm outside your house.
He just knock on the door.
You have to take it from my cold, dead hands.
He shot me a text back immediately. He's like, I'm free now.
That's pretty cool.
So I called him that night. Just like, hey, man, typical thing, fucking hard race. We both went after each other pretty hard, but, congratulations on your win. And I just hope that this was a wake up to some of the issues that we had in the district with some of the ways that you performed, and that, but at the end of the day, like, congrats on your win, Godspeed. And he said, technically in my career, he's like, I have defeated on paper, I think 17, 19 political opponents, whatever he said. He's like, you're the only one that's ever given this phone call. Wow. And I was kind of blown away by that. I was like, oh, I thought that was just a gentlemanly thing. Like, that's what you did. And he's like, I always thought so too.
Yeah.
He's like, I always thought going in, that's just what you did. But it was kind of like that, like, men, like, that sort of thing.
The war's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
The war's, I mean, it's...
Nothing I could say to him is going to change the election result. So it's like, I mean, might as well be gentlemanly about it.
I mean, but I know you well enough to know that you would have done that if you'd won too. Like, in the heat of battle, the gloves are off, right?
Yeah.
I think of Don Fry and what's his name just beating the shit out of, you know what I'm talking about?
When you're in the fucking ring, you're in the ring.
Dude, we're here to throw down. You see them together, everybody's like, they're best friends now. Yeah, because they're both warriors. They're the only ones who have that experience. You and him are the only one who have that experience going against each other. What's the point of being mad afterwards, no matter what happens? That's crazy.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong, there's still, like, I'm not giving him a pass on some of the things I don't agree with, but like, I'm saying, personally speaking, there's no reason to be a dick. Yeah, I guess is what I.
And you have been public with that too, because you've come out and acknowledged.
Yeah, to call off the unsubbers.
Yeah.
Hold.
Yeah, they heard.
You've acknowledged, I think on Twitter, you know.
Well, because the thing I didn't want to is, and this is a little strategic on my part, but it's also just like, you know, me just not putting myself above what we're trying to do here.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want him to have a lot of people like basically like, oh, fuck him, I'm not going to vote for him in the general election. And then now all of a sudden District 23 is seen as weak because the Republican numbers are down in the general for the congressional race. And now a bunch of outside California and New York money gets flooded into where they think now they're going to try to flip it blue. That's the last fucking thing we want. So it's like, all right, well, knowing when to pick your battles.
Again, you're always looking down the line. Like you could see the AK-50, you can see what you want for your district. You're like, I want what's best for my district. I want what's best for my people. I want what's best for my country.
Yeah.
Put up or shut up. I fucking love that. It's a common theme in your life.
You make me sound so much better than you can write my book, man.
Yeah.
You make me sound like such a better person than I am.
Yeah. Brandon Herrera, his dick tastes great.
Jesus.
Well, no, because I what fascinates me is shut up, you cop, you pig.
We got a fucking narc in the corner.
People are gonna think you're talking about me.
No, I would never talk about you. You're a cool cop. You're a cool cop. No,
yeah, you share your bust.
Yeah, yeah. Someone over there is honest. Because I just remember when I first heard you were running for it, I'm like, why would he do that? And so for me,
that was a common theme.
But I'm always trying to understand what people's motivations are because it helps me define what motivates me, right? In the sense of like, you get to certain points in your life where motivation fails and that's where discipline kicks in. I think that's a worse version of what Jocko says, but like literally motivation comes and goes, but discipline is what gets you like to work, to the gym, whatever. Like I treat everything like that. But when I think about like people who are successful in the abstract, which is how I would say you are successful myself as well, because like there's not really guide rails for what any of us are doing. We're actually,
there's no book.
We're laying the foundation for like that stuff now. Like people don't, I think about that all the time now, is that like the next generation, they'll know how to do all this stuff. That's why, you know, younger creators are twice as successful, twice as fast, because they've seen like, you know, the trips and falls that we've done or people have done before them. And they're like, okay, I can A/B test this and go from there.
Yeah.
But like with your story in particular, it's something where it's like, who am I? Who's Brandon Herrera? Who's the AK guy? And when I think of you, I think of a patriot. I think of someone who wants to affect change in a positive way, independently, without outside forces controlling him. That's how I think of you.
That, and I also realized it a little bit that like, I know what I am.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not a scalpel.
Yeah.
I'm when it comes to politics specifically, like I'm a blunt instrument, and I know that. But you know, sometimes it takes that. Like it took a Trump to beat a Clinton. It took a Trump to beat a Kamala Harris. You know, like there's a place for that where it's like, okay, should I be the guy? Talking about myself specifically here is like, should I be the guy who sits there for 10 years in that spot? Probably not. But am I the guy who can get the current guy out? Came close.
Are you the guy who'll be the next governor of Texas?
Fuck no.
No, if he would be the next and last director of the ATF if he were to do that.
Which was fun because I probably can't talk about that.
Is there anything? Listen, you've been so kind and gracious with us here, and as we're I won't say we're wrapping up, but like you've just shared so much, and for real, I can't thank you enough. You know I love you.
No, I love you too, man. That's why I'm here. You asked me to jump on a plane. I bought tickets the next day.
Literally, you go, is it okay if it's Easter weekend? And I was like, yeah, come over to the house. But I mean, you have Unsub, you have your channel. Unsub's incredible. It's been life-changing for me. Thank you to everyone who supported me during the VFW. You as well. Like, those were rough times. I can't thank you enough for that.
We're boys. We put on armor for each other. It's like, oh, who are we fucking up? Whose car are we taking?
Yeah, it was funny when I remember we were talking about it. I have to say this, and you're like, do they know who you're friends with? Like, that's literally what you said. And I was like, they do now, Brandon. And he goes, oh, yeah, they will. And then just like everyone's phones open up at once. And just the male autists from 18 to 34 just turn their eye on the VFW.
It's like a battleship.
Yeah.
The guns just fucking rotating.
It was great. But like I said, my friend Matt, who works at the highest levels with a lot of different people in the political space, he's very impressed by you. I'm going to connect you to him, actually. But now that you've made these waves in this space, I mean, we were waiting on you at the Gundys because you were in D.C. for the inauguration, right?
Yeah, and having to leave
like
right after.
Yeah, it seems like everyone knows who Brandon Herrera is now. So
For better or worse, a lot of them still don't like me, and I mean, fair.
Fuck them. It's their loss, dude. But as much as you want to talk about it, it seems like you're being brought in and sought as a subject matter expert in some of the changes that are being made with the government. Is that fair to say?
I would say that's a decent assessment. It's nice to see areas where I'm not trying to be cryptic. I'm just trying to figure out how to not get people in trouble. It's nice to know that our opinion is being taken seriously.
Yeah.
And that we have an administration that's willing to do that, which is rad. I'm not sure how much of that will translate into generational change. I hope a lot.
Yeah.
It's a little early to tell, but I find it a very good, canary in the coal mine kind of thing that we're being asked to come and give input.
Yeah, it looks like they're
and
being
not even just a promotional capacity, because none of us have talked about that in that degree, and none of us have been asked to.
I mean, you didn't even talk about really going to the inauguration. Like I remember. So we're like, where were we? We're at the Venetian. We're downstairs. And everybody's like, Brandon's here. And like, Brandon's 30 out. Brandon's 20 out. Brandon's 10. And then literally you walked off the elevator. And then it's like, we'll be on stage in 15 minutes. Like, you had literally just got off a plane from D.C.
That was a very rough weekend.
It was, dude. And then SHOT Show's its own thing. But
yeah,
I mean, like, my goal is for the ATF to be, I don't understand the ATF. I don't know. Maybe you can speak towards the reason we have it, or we should have it, or should not have it.
So, well, the ATF originally, the ATF was originally an office in the Treasury Department. It was just like a desk.
Yeah.
Because what it was filing things like tax stamps, NFA tax stamps from the NFA of 1934 and the GCA of 1986 are like basically the two big ones that the ATF deals with. But anyway, the NFA, like tax stamps on suppressors, SBRs, SBSs, machine guns. It was just literally a tax stamp approval desk.
Yeah.
And that's where it should have stayed. But it started growing, and especially under it grew out of it, became its own agency, and especially under Clinton and Janet Reno, got very heavily weaponized. That's where you had the Ruby Ridges, the Wacos, different stuff like that. And that's where things started really going off the rails. And especially since then, now it's become its own agency in the way that it is not just law enforcement, but it is now its own regulatory agency where they are making laws. And the last guy who just got shit canned, Marvin Richardson, the deputy director that was just fired or allowed to retire, whatever the fuck. Yeah. He's out now is the important part. He bragged about how much stuff they were able to do, like through the arm brace ruling, through the 80% stuff.
Yeah, I remember this thing. Yeah.
It's like they're bragging about how they're doing shit outside of Congress because they know they can't get Congress to pass it. I'm like, well, that's unconstitutional as fuck. And I come from an aspect where, obviously I think all gun laws are unconstitutional, but to brag about circumventing the legal process for getting laws made is fucking crazy, because that's wrong all the way around.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of legitimate jobs that they do now, which I don't think they should have done, but they're now under their purview, where they do like arson investigations and, cartel ops, stuff like that. But it's like a lot of that shit can be done by the FBI. All of that shit can be done by the FBI. I would just like to see a lot of the laws that they enforce taken off the books, and just the entire agency Some of it wrapped under the FBI and the rest of it completely disbanded.
And what's your vibe in DC? How does that play up there? Do you have any, can you speak on that? Because when Cash rolled it under the FBI for a little while, I was like,
I was very excited for the implications of that.
It's over.
It's too early to tell is the best I got.
Yeah, it's a side effect of the Trump administration moving so fast is like they've done so much so quickly. They're like, pull this one back.
Because we have a new acting director. We have a new deputy director. Not stoked about the deputy director, to be honest. I was looking at that. I'm like, I don't know if he was an appointment or if he was just the next guy in line.
Yeah.
That one's a bit of a worry spot for me, but altogether, from what I've been hearing from some people who, by the way, a couple people didn't fucking like Trump that were brought into some meetings that when they came out on the other side, they were like, I am shocked at how receptive they were to our ideas.
Really?
Yeah. So like, I got a lot of green flags that are kind of like behind the scenes and everybody's like, oh, well, didn't you see X, Y, and Z? It's like, trust me, I saw it. I've seen a lot of other things that a lot of people don't know about. And I'm like, I'm reserving my judgment.
Yeah. So wait to see how it all shakes out.
It's interesting, the criticism that the administration's getting because it's not moving as fast as everything else is. People are just, less patient, especially YouTube culture, Twitter.
Why wasn't this day one? It's like, because that's not how it works.
It's not, exactly.
If anything,
RFK's catching a lot of slack for, his take on vaccines, especially coming out against Fauci and writing that book. And now
that book's been out for a minute, though. It's so funny. Everyone's like, I can't believe he said this. I'm like, he said this forever ago. He's, it doesn't come out anywhere. He's also got a whole book supporting it, right?
No, so yes, he does. But what the problem is he's accepting of certain vaccines and stuff like that when he came out full court press against all of it. So now people feel like he's backtracking. He's just conforming to the system.
I thought he was just against vaccines being ramped up mainstream.
And see, that was the take that I thought.
Yeah.
That's like not against like polio. Like that's been tested. Measles, mumps, rubella. Those have been tested. Like
he's talking about like the 20 mystery serums they pump into your 6-month-old baby.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
That's pretty fucking crazy. I think.
Yeah.
We
100%.
should study that a little.
But you
bit
know how
more.
it is. It's just you got your far left, your far right, and it's just he's somewhere in the middle, and you're just not going to make everybody happy.
And the thing that I've noticed a lot is that people create, and I guess I've been studying it more in the gun space because obviously that's where I'm looking at right now. But I think it's true for stuff like RFK. People will create a mascot version, a cartoon version of the person in their head and think, he agrees with all this stuff because I agree with it. And this is my guy. And they will put words in their mouth in their own head. And then when the things that person says in real life don't align 100% with the imaginary person they created, they feel like they've been betrayed.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he just never fucking said that.
Yeah, you made that up. The mascot version. That's, yeah.
Because I saw people basically saying like, it was like the removal of the zero tolerance policy is what I talked about recently, which is a huge win for FFLs. Like that's a huge win as far as like the ATF not fucking our lives over.
Yeah.
And people were like, I don't care. I still haven't gotten the NFA removed. The National Firearms Act is still in effect. So I'm disappointed. Like, that was never a campaign promise. That's something that takes an act of Congress because, spoiler alert, took an act of Congress to institute it. Why are you upset at something not being delivered that you were never promised?
It's a good point.
Yep.
Why not just enjoy the win?
Take a dub every now and again.
Like they're so rare, especially when it comes to guns, dude.
It's
so rare.
I just find myself being patient, sitting back, and I know everybody wants that instant change, but it's just not going to happen. It's
that
like
Amazon Prime lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. Like instant gratification, and it's just not going to happen. But I think you said it perfectly. Take a dub, man. Take a dub, because the amount of dubs that we've gotten so early,
pretty cool.
You typically don't see within 4 years.
Some of them are pretty cool.
And that doesn't mean you stop pushing for what you want.
100%.
Yeah. But just enjoy the win.
Yeah. I'll take it. I mean, I'll take it. I'm taking it. I'm taking any dub I can right now. It's been brutal. And I'm gonna say this is the whole reason I wanted Trump to win. You got a man who's very successful. You got a man who's got nothing to lose. You got a man who's done everything he wants. What drives him? Legacy.
Yep.
He wants to have a good legacy, and I want that to weaponize his ego to a place to be the most successful president ever, because I know that's what he wants.
I mean, we're getting punished Trump right now.
Yeah.
A man who is president, was excommunicated, was massacred by the media, was shot.
Yes.
Was, targeted by a weaponized justice system. And now he's back, baby.
He's back.
He's surrounded
a lame
by
duck president. He can run the entire 4 years, and then I spend half the term campaigning. Like, let his ego be the weapon that drives forward his legacy, because he wants, when the chips fall and everything else is done, he wants to be seen as the most successful president ever, and that is what will benefit our country. And I know people don't like his style, whatever. I couldn't give a shit. I'm in the business of progress right now, okay? And those are just hard facts. Like,
because at time of recording, we're not even 3 months in.
We're not even 3 months in, and a lot is happening. He's saying crazy stuff like, we don't need like 12 wars. People are like, he's got some good points.
So I just pulled our guys out of Syria.
Yeah, like we're slowly. I'm excited for the fact that like he's driven to be a successful president. It's not to ultimately make our country successful. Yeah. That's always what I wanted. It's why Tulsi is there, RFK, all of them there. Dr. Oz is now there. Like JD Vance, the king of white trash. The king of white trash is the VP. He's a white trash he brought his former heroin addict mother to the White House, and he's there. Like he is like. He's on the hill of like white trash. Like I have no excuses no more. I mean, he made it out of that lifestyle to be the VP.
You can tell they fucking hate him.
Oh,
by the way they're targeting him, because like the campaign that they tried to run against him when he was still running for office, then during the Trump campaign, was JD Vance is weird, and it's like this is the most normal fucking guy.
Yeah.
Who might have ever entered politics.
Yeah. They said he was weird, and they forgot that Ron Howard made him a movie. That's a movie on Netflix right now.
Yep.
His book is a New York Times bestseller, and that he's funded by tech companies. No, he just worked 3 jobs and got scholarships in college.
Yeah.
He wasn't funded by like tech companies. He was just trying to change his circumstances for his family.
And the E4 Mafia is now in the White House. So
yeah, the E4 Mafia is in the White House, and Unsub is in the Pentagon. Lord have mercy.
We are in a timeline.
You are in a timeline. It is. We are on the prime timeline. I say this all the time. Like if there's other versions, this is the prime. This is Earth Prime.
It's definitely the most likely outcome. I can't remember what law this is, but it's like a thing. Is the most likely outcome is usually the funniest.
Yeah, Occam's razor kind of thing. Yeah,
yeah, and I think that's where we're living right now.
We're living. Well, as we're living, I'm getting ready to give you some incredible pizza. And I don't want to name the place, but it's awesome.
I was promised. I do remember somebody hit me up on Twitter when I said I was coming here. And
I think I knew who it was too, because I took him there. Was it mostly Peaceful Memes?
Ooh, it might have been.
Yeah, I took him there. He was like, "What?" I'm like, "We're not going to Hot Chicken, dude. I have to go to church tonight. I can't eat hot chicken pre-Easter service. Like it just doesn't work." But any saved rounds or alibis, anything that you want to mention, anything at all?
Any alibis?
Any alibis? He was here we'll date it. Go ahead. You got 2 law enforcement officials in the room.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me on. It's always a pleasure talking with you.
Yeah.
On and off camera.
Yeah.
You're a good dude, and thank you guys for supporting him because he deserves it.
Thank you very much. We'll catch you on the next one.